Hello, I'm Alex Hare, and I welcome you to Australian Archives, a program of musical items featuring Australian artists of note and taken from the archives. Welcome again to Australian Archives, and we begin this edition with Waltzing Matilda, played by the Australian Military Band in an arrangement by Lieutenant Colonel Peter Jackson.
At the end of the trail there is sunshine. At the end of the trail there's joy. Though the way may be hard and the trail seems so long, just sing a song while you're jogging along. Then you'll find all the world will seem brighter, that your skies are of clearest blue. So just cheer up, for you'll find your bluebird waiting at the end of the trail for you.
Very smooth sound of Al Royal there, singing with George Trevor's Dance Orchestra from the 1940s, recorded in Sydney for Regal Zonophone, and the tune penned by legendary composer Jack O'Hagan. And of course we opened the program with the traditional Waltzing Matilda and the Australian Military Band. I hope you enjoyed that. Now to a piece penned by the wonderful Australian comedian George Wallace, Myri Parker, A Brown Slouch Hat.
Little birds invest in a nest, do you know? Does anybody know the answer? The answer is love. What's the reason little girls and boys give up their toys, do you know? Does anybody know the answer? The answer is love. What caused the market crash that caused the big depression? What makes the world go round with the dizzy expression? Now what's the reason little Jack and Jill climbed that hill, do you know? Does anybody know the answer? The answer is love. Jack and Jill climbed that hill, do you know? Does anybody know the answer? The answer is love is the sweetest thing. The answer is love.
Dick Freeman and his Trocadero Dance Orchestra with Barbara James singing, recorded in Sydney in March of 1940. The answer is love. And before that it was Myrie Parker and George Wallace's great song, A Brown Slouch Hat. Well, let's have a little square dance now with Jim Vickers-Willis, and it's the Alabama Jubilee.
It's the Alabama Jubilee, and now it's for the lady promenade to go inside of the ring. Go home and swing your heart, yes, everybody swing. We got a sad shade that old corner now, about one time down. And then you bow right now to your old man and swing that guy to beat the band. Well, when you promenade, you go inside of the hall. Go home and let us sit round this park that's wild at all. That corner girl, give her a swing. Promenade her round the ring to the Alabama Jubilee. Here we go, and now we'll all join hands in circle if then you make that big old ring. We got to break the ring with the corner swing. You leave her off right to God again. Ring, yeah, pretty ring, break the ring with a partner swing. Later on the right, you've gone again. Circle left and don't you know, hop, don't you know, and little below. Take your honey and home you go. Stop when you get home, they're kind, you know. They're all the way around, you're all left-hand lady. Say so round your toe. They swing down this gal across the hall. Promenade and wild. You got your party, you've got your mate. Take that girl and promenade. Go all around, let that lady say so round your toe. So never now then left with your left hand. Right, right, left, right. Here's that, here's blue. Here's the gal that came with you. Promenade around, cause we're all through. Oh, promenade around the ring. When you're home, give them a swing to the Alabama Jubilee. That's all.
Jim Vickers-Willis with the National Square Dance Orchestra and Alabama Jubilee.
There is a man called Uncle Sam who's always stuck to his guns. He heard a shout to help us out and sent us one of his sons, Mr. Doughboy, Mr. Doughboy. Gee, what a guy, you sure look high to me. When everything looked black for the Union Jack, the Stars and Stripes came over and they helped to put it back. Mr. Doughboy, don't you know, boy, that all of us have cottoned on to you. It's a wonderful combination, all for one and one for all. The eagle, the lion, and the kangaroo. Find a fighting son of a gun. We like the way you said okay and came along on the run, Mr. Doughboy, Mr. Doughboy. Hear the applause and it's all yours, sirree. For years your loyal sons made us arms in tons, and now you come in person with your tanks and planes and guns, Mr. Doughboy. Off we go, boy. We've taken it, but we can give it to Tommy Sneakers, and now the Doughboys, all for one and one for all. The eagle, the lion, and the kangaroo. Mr. Doughboy, Mr. Doughboy. Gee, what a guy, you sure look high to me. When everything looked black for the Union Jack, the Stars and Stripes came over and they helped to put it back. Mr. Doughboy, don't you know, boy, that all of us have cottoned on to you? It's a wonderful combination, all for one and one for all. The eagle, the lion, and the kangaroo.
William Flynn and his old-time orchestra then, and a medley of two. We heard Margie and California, Here I Come. Prior to that, Jack Davey with Fred McIntosh and his sextet, recorded in Sydney in April of 1942, Jack's own composition entitled Mr. Doughboy. Now, from the 1930s, in fact the early 30s, celebrating the opening of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, here's Len Maurice with Gil Desch and his syncopators, Bridge of Our Dreams Come True.
In safety, and busy trains pass through. A wonderful thing of beauty, passing the skies of blue. The best brains thought it, brave men wrought it, bridge of our dreams come true.
Gildesh and his syncopators, a nice toe tapper. Len Maurice was the singer, and celebrating the opening of the Sydney Harbour Bridge in the early 1930s, Bridge of Our Dreams Come True. And we bring this edition of Australian Archives to a close with Tex Morton, and he's going to introduce this Australian classic.
Folks, here is one of the most rhythmic and descriptive of all Australian poems. And I think it's one of Banjo Patterson's best. A story all about a drover named Clancy. One you all know. Here it is, Clancy of the Overflow. I had written him a letter, which I had, for want of better knowledge, sent to where I met him down the Lachlan years ago. He was shearing when I knew him. So I sent the letter to him just on spec, addressed as follows: Clancy of the Overflow. And an answer came directed in a writing unexpected. And I think the same was written with a thumbnail dipped in time. It was his shearing mate who wrote it, and verbatim I will quote it. Clancy's gone to Queensland droving, and we don't know where he are. In my wild, erratic fancy, visions come to me of Clancy gone a droving down the Cooper, where the western drovers go. As the stock are slowly stringing, Clancy rides behind them singing, for the drover's life has pleasures that the townsfolk never know. And the bush has friends to meet him, and their kindly voices greet him in the murmur of the breezes and the river on its bars. And he sees the vision splendid of the sunlit plains extended, and at night the wondrous glory of the everlasting stars. I'm sitting in a dingy little office where a stingy ray of sunlight struggles feebly down between the houses tall, and the fetid air and gritty of the dusty, dirty city through the open window floating spreads its foulness over all. And in place of lowing cattle, I can hear the fiendish rattle of the tramways and the buses making hurry down the street, and the language uninviting of the gutter children fighting comes fitfully and faintly through the ceaseless tramp of feet. And the hurrying people daunt me, and their pallid faces haunt me as they shoulder one another in their rush and nervous haste, with their eager eyes and greedy, and their stunted forms and weedy. For townsfolk have no time to grow. They have no time to waste. And I somehow rather fancy that I'd like to change with Clancy, like to take a turn at droving where the seasons come and go, while he faced the round eternal of the cash book and the journal. But I doubt he'd suit the office, Clancy of the Overflow.
Tex Morton, born Robert Lane in New Zealand, moved to Australia at the age of 16 and became part of our culture. And Clancy of the Overflow. I hope you enjoyed it. Australian Archives was conceived, prepared and produced by Alex Hare for Golden Days Radio. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.